Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Yo, what's good, people? This is Trackstar, the DJ of Run the Jewels, and you're listening to the homies over at Zero Dark Nerdy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Zero Dark Nerdy, the world's most notorious pop culture podcast.
The filthiest of the filthy.
This is your boy Brian, a.k.a. El Nino, and today I'm joined with...
This is Jadon, a.k.a. your friendly neighborhood trivia man.
Woo! Ryan Saba. I can't call myself Captain Cleveland. The city of Cleveland should be very disappointed with me right now. The Browns are on in a game that could, if they win, they will be leading the division. I am not watching it. I am recording, but my family needed me. So I'm here. I'm ready. Ryan Saba, Mr. Sabatooth. That's it.
Well, thank you for being here.
I love you guys.
I'll go ahead and get this out of the way now. Spoilers ahead, ladies and gentlemen. Spoilers away. Spoilers ahoy.
Are we going full spoiler?
Yeah. I mean, why change it now?
We are past the embargo, so we can say whatever we want.
What I would say is this to anybody who hasn't seen it, turn it off. Just turn it off. Enjoy it as spoiler-free as you possibly can. I know you've been ducking and dodging them for the last week. Some people were unable to see it, and my guess is they're probably going to see it this week. Mm-hmm. But if you haven't seen it, turn it off. Come back and listen to us after. You deserve to see this spoiler-free. With that being said, let's spoil the shit out of this thing.
That's right. We're not talking about Nightmare Alley. We are talking about Spider-Man No Way Home. Just dropped in theaters. This episode will drop tomorrow, the 21st of December. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to all of you out there listening, to our fans, family, and friends. Happy holiday season. We're just going to get into it. Overall thoughts, reactions, what's coming up next as far as the Spider-Verse. And, ratings, and then we'll go from there. We'll go ahead and kick it off with our friendly neighborhood trivia host, Jerry.
Well, I mean, what can you say about this movie? It's it's great. It's a love letter to Spider-Man. It's the MCU and Sony came together, and they put together something crazy. Yeah, of course, we all heard spoilers, before it came out, and we were all hoping that we saw what we got to saw.
But they did a good job of like Feige and really all of them did a good job of sort of like being like, oh yeah, we're not like it was so like they were so just nonchalant about like
right.
I've started to believe.
Right. Well, there were so many possibilities. Right. Like, who knows what we were going to see at that point.
Yeah.
And I'm glad we got what we got. It started right after Far From Home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And by the time it ended, it's Christmas time. And so that's like where Hawkeye starts. Yep. So there's a nice little block of time in the MCU there. I loved that Stark Industries got raided at the beginning, and to kind of cut that safety net from Spider-Man at the beginning. That stuff is definitely going to come up in future things, like in the Armor Wars show.
Yep.
Like that technology had to get out somehow. Yeah. And that's going to lead into that. Also, the power broker, Sharon Carter, might get her hands on some of this stuff.
That's right.
Favorite moments, Charlie Cox, Daredevil.
That
showing
was quick.
Up. That was quick.
Yeah.
We didn't get Daredevil. We got Matt Murdock with a little hint of his powers when he grabbed that brick thrown through the window. He did that because he's a good lawyer. I guess.
That's right. The goodest lawyer.
Yeah. Possibly the best portrayal of Green Goblin to date. I mean, I think Willem Dafoe did better than his original Spider-Man movie for sure.
Mask off.
Yeah. Mask
Facial
off.
expressions, I think.
Purple cape on the suit too, to kind of add that comic book flair to it. Mm-hmm. Wow. Him, Doc Ock, and Electro looked amazing.
Yeah.
The de-aging they did on Alfred Molina and Willem Dafoe looked great. Mm-hmm. And then, holy shit, Electro's like in full power mode looked awesome.
Yeah.
With the face flares that looked like the mask from the comics. He looked like a badass, and I would hate to go up against that Jamie Foxx Electro because he was just zapping everywhere and just really fucking shit up, especially with that arc reactor.
True.
We're back and better than ever. A new web interface for the rest of the basketball season and more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline.ag remains your number one spot for all the basketball and football action this season. Head to the new updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BELIEVE50 to receive your bonus. That's BLEAV50. From basketball, football, NHL, boxing, UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline.ag is the fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite sports. BetOnline. It's where the game starts.
True.
Sorry, I'm just there's so much in this movie. Like they gave us so much.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Before you keep, let me ask you a question before you go any further. I want to take a step back to the Matt Murdock stuff.
Yeah.
Is this the Matt Murdock from the Netflix show, or is this a new version of Matt Murdock that just happens to be played by the same guy? I think it's the latter, right?
Well,
That's a good question.
Because they've sort of said that that's going to kind of stand on its own.
Mm-hmm.
And there's even rumors, spoiler alert, that the Barenthal Punisher may actually be involved in the Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man, that version of Spider-Man, that variant, if you will. So I don't know. I mean, I guess... What do you think?
I think you said the accurate word there. I think this Charlie Cox Daredevil Matt Murdock is a variant of the one we saw in the Netflix shows.
Okay.
Just like this Jamie Foxx Electro was not the same one from Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Well,
and I'm glad they addressed that.
I think it was a variant of that one.
You know what? He was the variant where he lives. He said, I always thought that Spider-Man was a black kid.
Right.
So I think he's Miles Morales' Electro.
Right.
That could very well be possible.
Yeah. No,
With,
how'd that make you feel?
That was pretty funny too. He was like, "You're in Queens. You help out poor people." He was like, "Of course, I thought you were black."
That's a great point. It could definitely be Miles's Electro from that universe. But he never. Another thing is Andrew Garfield's Electro never knew that Peter Parker was Spider-Man.
No.
So that's why I'm saying it's a variant that did know.
Right.
Some other time or some other.
Right.
Because it only pulled in people. It only pulled in people that knew that Peter Parker was Spider-Man.
Right.
It was going to pull in all of them, and then they stopped it, and only 8 got in.
Yeah.
And now we know the 8. The 5 main villains, Venom, and then the 2 other Peter Parkers.
Which
that we saw.
Keep going.
There's the only ones that we saw.
We'll do post-credit stuff later.
Atari returns with an all-new video game system. Play more games on Atari VCS. 100 free Atari classics, modern PC games, Xbox games, and so much more. Watch top movie apps like Netflix and Disney. Browse, shop, get work done with Chrome and Gmail. Atari VCS is the new video game system from the company that started it all. Shop now at AtariVCS.com. Use promo code ZERO, ZERO, for $10 off any system. Also available at BestBuy.com, GameStop.com, and MicroCenter.com.
One thing that irked me, we never, out of all of him swinging around, all that stuff, we never really got a full shot of Avengers Tower right now. Mm-hmm. I kept looking for it and could never find it. They're keeping that on purpose, under wraps for on purpose for sure. I'm hoping it might, turn into like a Fisk Tower in this next Hawkeye episode, maybe, or
in Loki, you saw Kang, Q-A-N-G.
Yeah, it could be
when they were at the end there. So
yeah, but never got to see that. Lizard sucked just like he did in the other movie.
Yeah, I could care less about him.
I don't like smart Lizard, like smart sounding Lizard. I want him like smart when he's a human, and then
Lizardy.
lizard as fuck, I guess.
LAF.
Yeah. I like that when we saw Sandman again, he's still on good terms with his Peter Parker, at least.
Yeah.
He helped him out, even though he didn't know it was his Peter Parker. All that. Did you like the Doctor Strange versus Spider-Man stuff?
It was fine.
I did. I like the mirror, realm,
Mirror dimension.
or AKA the Inception dimension, right? As it looks like. I mean, that stuff was pretty cool. I'm glad they didn't harp on it and make it go too long, though.
Right.
That's my thing. I thought maybe that would have dragged on a little bit, but I thought the amount of time that they spent in the realm, all that, I thought was fine. The only thing that really irked me was how fast Ned was able to open the portal. Because in the first Doctor Strange movie, it takes him to get teleported to Mount Everest for him to figure it out. And Ned just kind of waves his hands around like I do every single podcast episode, and the fucking portal's starting to open.
Yeah. I mean, you could make the argument that Doctor Strange was kind of fighting it the whole time.
Right.
Like learning it, and then,
And
Ned
apparently
even-
there's magic inside Ned.
right. There's magic runs in our family. The mirror dimension was really cool. I liked when Spider-Man used math versus magic. That was really cool. Getting to see Peter Parker's nerdy side get the better of Stephen Strange. He even came out and was like, I just fought Doctor Strange and won.
Yeah.
And that blew his mind. And you'd never think that, because he went to him for help. He was the most powerful person he knew, at the time,
Plus the help that they're in roughly the same neighborhood.
Well, yeah.
There's nobody else.
I did notice.
Where's he gonna go?
Yeah.
Steve Rogers is gone. Iron Man's dead. Where the fuck is Thor? He's somewhere with the Guardians of the Galaxy, the Asgardians of the Galaxy. There's no
Happy's mopey,
Right?
After the
they're-
breakup.
I mean, there's nobody else.
I'd probably be mopey too if
Oh, yeah.
if Marissa Tomei just dumped me.
All the villains in the same room, like all in Happy's apartment, was really fun. The quipping back and forth, the little bit of comparing the origin stories, Sandman and Electro. Oh, I fell in vat at something. I fell in the electric eel vat. Like, oh, I fell in a super collider. He's like, man, we gotta watch where you fall. that was a huge laugh moment for me. That whole scene, it started out like hopeful and fun, and then when Norman turns, when you see, we actually get full-fledged spider sense going on, where he's surrounded by villains. He didn't really know where it was coming from until he knew. And that turn, oh my God, so scary. Green Goblin, that's the best Green Goblin portrayal I've seen. That fight afterwards is epic, along the lines of the Suicide Squad, where they're like falling through the floors, like throughout the fights. Like it felt like that. Real gritty, real hard hitting looking stunts.
Violence.
Very proud of Willem Dafoe doing whatever stunt they let him do, because he wanted, in order to come back, he wanted to do more of that stuff.
Love it.
So it looked very realistic, very painful. The rug was ripped out from under us. They tricked us. We thought that Aunt May was okay, and she wasn't. It hit me that at this moment, after she goes into great power, great responsibility, I'm like, there is no Uncle Ben to tell him like this. In the MCU, this is the origin.
Yeah.
We've just watched the entire origin happen.
Yeah.
And we wanted it, and we got it in one movie a few times, but now it's starting to sink in that like this whole thing has been his origin story.
All 3 movies.
Yeah. There might have been an Uncle Ben, but it didn't really look like Peter knew about him or anything. This is
not much.
He had the suitcase that had, his initials on it.
It wasn't as big as of the story as it was within the first 2.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, important to him for sure.
Yeah.
But this is the defining moment that we've seen in other medium. Like, with great power comes great responsibility. His Aunt May told him that she, even while dying, she was saying that you did the right thing. And I wept.
Yeah. That was rough. I'm not going to lie. It was, cause at first, just like you said, you see her get up, which I was like, she just got knocked over by the glider. And I know it's got the sharp shit in it.
Like if she's not impaled, like she's got to be okay, right?
Right. And then she just ends up fainting. And then we have that scene. Luckily, not far after, and we can get to Saba on this, is where we get to see Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
And then Toby show up. So to me, it was like, yes, this is incredibly sad, super, super sad. But it was good that they waited until after to bring in. And I know a lot of people, oh, it's just fan service. Like, to me, this movie means a lot, but I'll get to that in a little bit. Saba, what's your take on it?
From A24 and acclaimed director Rose Glass, Saint Maud is the boldly original movie that Esquire calls a mesmerizing horror masterpiece. Available on Blu-ray and DVD November 30th, Saint Maud.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a movie of redemption for almost all the characters in a way. It's a movie of, pain, heartache. This is the first time that Tom Holland, the MCU version of Peter Parker, really experienced sort of that pain that you had come to know from the Sam Raimi, Tobey Maguire, and the Amazing Spider-Man Andrew Garfield. You saw the rage, the anger, the revenge, new from those other versions of Spider-Man. What I will say about, there was a lot of moments where I was sad and I felt sad, but the part that really almost had me choked up a little bit, to be totally honest with you, when the first portal opens and you see sort of Spider-Man in his costume and he's looking and they're like, Peter, come here. And he starts running towards, you could tell that it wasn't Tom Holland by the body movement. And I said, here we go. Like I said it out loud. I said, here we go. And then, he comes through, takes his mask off, which is interesting because maybe 15 or 20 minutes before, there was some sort of portal action. And as soon as Tom Holland comes out, he takes his mask off. And I had almost anticipated, like, maybe they were going to do it at that point. Mm-hmm. Takes it off. It's Andrew Garfield. Oh my God, you're not Peter Parker, whatever. You go through that. And then they open another portal and it's just old man Peter Parker, Tobey Maguire.
Yeah.
And when they're all kind of standing in the kitchen, in Ned's grandmother's kitchen, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was the part that I started to get kind of emotional and choked up because, like, as fans, we don't fucking deserve what we just got to see.
Right.
We've been enjoying and watching Spider-Man, watching comic book movies. And obviously with The Flash, I mean, everybody knows because they've already announced it, we're going to get a very similar experience with Batman, with Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton's version. But this is just a little bit different. And then obviously in the final battle, all the speculation with the trailers where there was Brazilian versions where one of them was hitting the lizard or whatever, that did come to fruition. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of almost brotherhood between the three of them that was just very touching. You have these three, when Doc Ock looked at Tobey Maguire, Peter Parker, and he said, Peter, you've grown up. Almost like Hook, right? Like,
yeah.
He's like, Peter, you've grown up. But you have these three young men now, Tobey Maguire's an old man.
Youth pastor.
They've
That's right.
They've all experienced so much, and they've all been through so much heartache and pain, and they've all had to do it alone.
Right.
And now they're in a place where they have somebody that they can share it with, and they're like talking to each other, and it was very touching. The Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, you're amazing. You are amazing, and I want to fight an alien. There's aliens here. Like, you're part of the Avengers. What's the Avengers? Just the dialogue between all of them was really great. It was really touching. And when they kind of come together there at the end, when the battle starts to turn, and he's like, man, we're doing this alone. Like, we got to work together. And they all start kind of working together and doing call outs. And it's great. It was touching. It was a redemption story. Obviously, Tobey Maguire being the elder statesman. There's a moment at the end when Tom Holland is going to murder
Yeah.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Green
He's going to
Goblin.
take his revenge out. Yeah.
And Toby kind of just stops him, and shakes his head. And obviously he takes a little collateral damage and gets stabbed or whatever. But, it was an amazing movie. It was everything I expected, yet at the same time, it was way more than I ever anticipated. It was an Avengers level event. And we may not get another Avengers level event for a while. I think now, though, Marvel kind of has the formula down where they're able to do cameos and things like that, where they can create sort of mini, almost like the Wu-Tang Clan, right? Like every solo album is a Wu-Tang album.
Right.
I think Marvel is definitely in that space right now where you're going to get cameos. I mean, they just did reshoots for Doctor Strange 2 because they wanted to do more cameos and things like that. So it was great. I didn't cry. There was a couple times I thought I was going to, and like I said, the one point when I really got the closest was a point that's not even really cry worthy. It was just me sort of sitting there watching this on the screen and sort of basking in it and being, embarrassed for everybody that's, under 30 or whatever. And they're just watching an MCU movie and they weren't watching the same thing that we were watching.
Yeah. If they hadn't seen it, you wouldn't be watching the same movie.
I mean, I saw Tobey Maguire in the theaters. I saw Andrew Garfield in the theaters. There is a group of people that were born, 19 in the mid 90s and later that just weren't watching the same thing that we were.
I actually had one person, I'll leave you unnamed for this episode, but literally texted me because I think I checked into Bodega. And people obviously knew I was getting ready. I was pre-gaming before the movie, really just enjoying a sub because I was starving. Big ups to Bodega, by the way.
Delicious.
And he was like, so we're going to take, my girlfriend and I are going to take the kids. Like, what movie should we watch before this? And I literally just responded, all of them. All the Spider-Man movies. Yeah. Like the first three, the ones with Andrew Garfield, obviously the first two in this series. And he was like, well, we only have time for one. And I'm like, I guess the one before, like you nailed it on the head, man.
I went to the Crockers for a Christmas party. Shout out to Luke. And he said, so was Spider-Man good? I was like, it's fucking amazing. And I'm like, dude, you got to see it. He's like, well, I've seen like Endgame and the one before it and Black Panther. And I'm like, so like Infinity War. so you watched the last like 3 movies of the Infinity Saga. And he's like, yeah, I think I saw Iron Man 1. And I'm just like, dude, don't.
Yeah.
Don't.
And believe me, we're not hating on you out there if you've only seen, some of the MCU movies. I mean, just like Saba said, we just grew up in a different era. So we had the advantage of being freshly I think I was 21 when the first Spider-Man came out. I think it was 2001.
It was 02, I think.
Or 02, yeah. So I mean, still young.
I'm a little younger than you guys.
Yeah.
I think you turn 40 next year.
I do.
So just by a little bit. We had the fortune of having these cinematic adventures for the first 3 Spider-Man with Sam Raimi. And then, with whether you like him or not, with Andrew Garfield. And then, of course, now these 3 here. So
one more thing, for Amy Pascal and that whole team, Feige, the writers of it, for them to be able to sort of interweave the stories so effortlessly with the villains, with the Spider-Man, like for them to be able to sort of interweave the stories. Like I said, like, I want to fight an alien. Oh, you're in the Avengers. What's the, like just for them to be able to kind of do all that and have the villains kind of doing their thing. It was great. And then obviously there was more evidence of that, and we'll talk about it here in a little bit with the post-credit scene where there was another villain who was sort of getting caught up, and he's like, there was a guy that flew around in a tin can, like just so funny
guy.
But it's like, think about it though. If you were from a different timeline,
Oh, yeah.
if you would be like where these other superheroes and special people don't exist, you'd be like, there's this fucking guy flying around in a metal suit, and all that. So it's just it was great. I loved it. And we'll get into ratings and all that here in a minute. We'll give Brian a chance, but yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah. You guys obviously covered a bunch. I mean, I just want to say, just like this podcast episode now, I was smiling, except for the sad moments, literally from beginning to end. A lot of people out there are going to say, well, this was just fan service, but it wasn't fan service. It literally did justice to all the Spider-Man movies, just like you said, Pascal and Feige. And, a little fun fact, too, she actually brought in Feige to help her with the second Amazing Spider-Man. So that's how their relationship started to build, because she was like, I kind of have like a mess here. Can you help me out with this? So, and I'm sure a lot of you know, they do have more plans for Tom Holland's Spider-Verse going on, and we'll see what happens with that. But it was so great to see all this come together. And I mean, to me, the story was fantastic. Just like you said, Saba, you've seen these guys. I mean, for the exception, really the first two, you see them do it on their own. This one, he had Ned, he had MJ in the second one, Ned, the guy in the chair, where they didn't have that with Tom Holland and Toby. But besides that, though, I was entertained from beginning to end. There was not a single part where I was bored out of my mind at all whatsoever. Like I said, of course, it was crushing to see Aunt May pass away. I was more geeking out in the Statue of Liberty scene, to where they finally got together and they're like, we're messing this all up. Like, we're doing this. We need to work together. And they've never worked together with really, of course, with each other before. And the only one that had experience working with anyone was Tom Holland,
right.
With the Avengers and everything else. And then seeing all that.
Peter won.
Yeah, Peter won.
Oh, my God.
And then, seeing Andrew Garfield being like, I love you guys.
Yeah.
And then they just
like,
go.
Great. You're great too, man.
Yeah, that I will say, I would have loved to seen just like another couple more minutes of them all kicking ass together.
Yeah.
That's really, and I really don't have a lot of gripes. And even the gripes I have are very, 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 very minuscule. But if I were to have my druthers, as they would say, I would have liked to seen the three of them fight in cohesion just a little bit longer, but I get it. And it was a great story, great movie all around. I mean, it's up there in my top 5 for sure. I know that it's been a long time since we've done a top 5 MCU episode. The first one we did was after Infinity War. We've had 8, 9 movies come out since then, at least.
Yeah,
something like that. So I'm sure we'll revisit that next year.
2 Spider-Man.
But yeah, it was. I get a little bit choked up, but it was just really good to watch that on the big screen. Going all the way back from the 02 Spider-Man to now, and like you said, redemption story when you got Andrew Garfield rescuing MJ, and even though he didn't get to do it with Gwen in the second one. Just things like that. And then Toby being the bigger man and not letting
Doc Ock.
Doc Ock, exactly.
Andrew Garfield stole the show, man.
He was
so
great.
Fun.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah. And can we talk about they finally, and they did it so subtly where it wasn't forced in, all 3 Spider-Men pointing at each other.
Yeah, they did the meme.
Peter? Yeah, they did the meme. And they did it in such a good way where it was like, it wasn't forced. It was just right.
One of my favorite parts was during the fight where they're trying to work together and they finally have decided who's who.
Yeah.
And Andrew Garfield's like, Peter number 3.
Right. Yeah.
That let out the biggest laugh.
Yeah.
After that was great. The Liberty fight scene was amazing. The Doctor Strange spell at the end, and Tobey Maguire's has been stabbed, and he's like, is that real or am I dying?
Right.
Because this guy's cracking up, and
That
was really fun.
But then when him and Andrew Garfield are walking, he's He's like, "You doing okay, man?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "No, I'm in so much pain."
And I'm really glad this could have been a movie in the wrong hands. It could have got out of hand real quick.
Well, yeah,
You know,
we
they,
saw
they
it.
could have done, and we've seen it happen.
Well, we
lot of
may
times.
see it happen next year with Flash.
Right. That's true. Warner Brothers still trying to get their shit together out there. Just let Zack Snyder and, they're bringing back old boy from
James
Guardians, James Gunn. Just let them take control of the shit. So we'll see. But yeah, we see movies get out of hand before. And this one in the wrong hands definitely could have, especially when people started kind of coming through the multiverse. And
And you
but
could
it didn't.
see, it looked like the outline of Rhino.
For sure.
And
Rhino.
Craven the Hunter, I think, was the first one.
Somebody
right?
with
Yeah.
a spear, so
Yeah.
that's definitely Craven.
Yeah. Now we'll have to go back and watch it again because
Yeah.
there was other outlines.
There was some definite silhouettes in
Yeah.
there.
I think I saw a Scorpion maybe like with his tail like up
Yeah.
like that, but I didn't really get to visualize anyone else. It wasn't on screen that long.
Yes.
For me to grab all.
There'll
those,
be
yeah.
some. You just go watch the Easter egg videos. I'm sure
Oh,
they
yeah.
do deep breakdowns of that.
So before we get into mid and post credit scenes
Yeah.
and all that rating time, I give it definite 4.5. I mean, I'd literally want to give it 5. It's just hard to give a movie 5. I think I'm only giving it 4.5 because they killed off Aunt May, but I see why they did it though.
Out of 5 coins, I would say I'm going to agree 4.5. I'm not going to give it a perfect score. I think it kind of lagged a little bit in the middle, but that's really my only big gripe about anything that I saw.
Right.
I don't think it was too much fan service. I think it was just enough fan service.
Right.
I think they finished 2 or 3 different stories here, and we have a great new direction for Spider-Man. He's on his own now.
Yeah.
He's got no help. No one knows who the hell he is.
Yeah.
He's got to make his own suits like the comics now.
That
and
was
he
awesome.
just did that suit was like bright blue, like right out
Yeah.
of the comics.
That's the OG suit.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because Courtney was like, why did he went back to the blue suit, but it's so much more symbolic than that because he's going back to his roots. He doesn't have any Stark tech
Right.
in his suits and all that. Like he's just back to being your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
And
it was I just thought it was very symbolic to use sort of the comic version of with like the bright blue and
Right.
all that. Yeah. I really enjoyed that part of it.
The template he just saw with his 2, counterparts.
Yeah.
He had to have noticed their suits.
Right. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just took it to that level and took that inspiration from those guys.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, definitely 4.5. I want to give it 5, but I don't know if I'll ever give a movie 5. What I would say is it's definitely top 5 MCU. It's arguably top 3. It's Infinity War and Endgame. Those two will always kind of be 1-2 to me.
Sure.
Just because of that whole experience. And
The spectacle.
I've talked about it on this show a million times, all of that. But now it starts to get into like Winter Soldier. Yeah, I mean, to me, like it's a battle right now for 3 between this movie and Captain America: Winter Soldier.
Yeah. I would definitely say
And
Guardians.
Civil
is still
War.
in
I
the
mean,
top
Civil
5.
War was really
War.
good. I mean, it's in that realm.
Yeah. Yeah. And, before we get into mid and post credit scenes, as I mentioned earlier, this isn't done by any means. The Spider-Verse, for a lot of you that don't know this, Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man as well as all the villains in the Spider-Man universe. And the deal is they will hold on to that as long as they pump out a Spider-Man movie. I believe it's every 3 years. It's something like that for them to hold on to those rights. And there's a ton of characters on there. Craven the Hunter's coming up next, and that's going to be played by Aaron
Taylor
Quicksilver.
Johnson.
Yeah, the Quicksilver from
Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron is going, and I'm excited to see
Kick-Ass.
that. And Kick-Ass.
Kick-Ass will be Craven the Hunter.
That's right. Makes sense. So, I mean, so this definitely is not it for Tom Holland and the MCU and Sony to continue to work together
And
They can always work that Kingpin angle now.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they're going to go a couple different directions. I've heard some rumors that Tom Holland may play a part in Across the Spider-Verse as a animated version of himself. Like I already stated, it sounds like they're going to revive the Amazing Spider-Man franchise and go a different direction with Andrew Garfield. Obviously, there's a college years trilogy for Tom Holland coming.
Yeah, the cartoon.
Yep.
That's the next. They've already said they're going to do another MCU trilogy with Tom
but
Holland.
they're doing
Spider-Man freshman year.
freshman
The
year
cartoon.
cartoon.
So you have that. You have at least three more MCU Spider-Man movies coming. You got to believe at some point in that trilogy they will introduce Miles Morales because they're already going. They're laying the groundwork for the whole Young Avengers thing throughout all the Marvel properties right now. So
And Secret Wars is eventually going to come.
well, the Russo
as well.
brothers are already attached to
Yeah.
it, and they were on the Brandon Davis, who's a guy I follow on Twitter. If you guys don't follow him, he's awesome. He was on the red carpet last Monday interviewing. Joe Russo came on there, and you could just see. He's like, "So, tell me, Secret Wars, you guys doing it?" He's like, I can't say anything. All I'll say is that I love Marvel, and we do another movie in a heartbeat, and da 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 da. So it's coming.
Yeah.
It might be a while, but it's coming for
They
sure.
got. That's the thing, though, right? Like if they've got. It's like Sony, like the company, just Sony. They're selling PlayStation 5s right now, but they're working on development of PlayStation 7, right? Like they're going to sell and make their money, and they're going to go through their timeline, and they've got a really strong pipeline coming with a bunch of new characters that work. They're just laying the groundwork. All your old favorites except for Thor are gone. And they're laying the groundwork for your new favorites, and then you're going to start getting your epic Avengers level movies in due time.
Well, you won't see a Secret Wars until you see Doctor Doom.
Yeah.
Which
We need Doom before we can have a
which
proper.
will happen. So
just
there's
made
one
it.
very important thing that they have to wait for until they can do that. You need a couple more Robert Downey Jr. movies to flop. You need a couple more. You need a couple more Chris Evans movies to flop, because you can't do that without them. And that I'm getting all I'm getting all like inside right now, like just excited about this idea of just everything that we have and everything that's coming. And we talk about this every time we do a Marvel podcast, but like this is the golden age of superhero movies.
I want to live
far,
long
so
enough
good.
to see all this shit. Like, I don't want to die before Kevin Feige.
I got to make it just one day longer than him.
All right. So mid and post credit scenes, mid credit scene. We got Tom Hardy, our boy.
Shit was
back as,
dumb. I
Venom.
don't like it. It was dumb. I
Yeah.
don't like it.
No, not a fan.
So yeah, go ahead.
Well, here's the thing though. Did it have anything? Because I have not seen Let There Be Carnage.
Me either. I just know about the post-credit scene.
So I saw the post-credit scene for Let There Be Carnage,
Okay.
and he's at the beach, and he sees
Okay.
the J. Jonah Jameson report on TV, and
He's been pulled into the MCU at that point.
well, now it makes sense,
Yeah.
Right.
And he licks the TV, so obviously from that point he went down.
And the
to-
symbiote says that guy.
Yeah.
Like he knew him, but he didn't really know him, did he?
well, I don't know. He knew some version of him, right?
They in that post-credit scene, this is the quick version. In that post-credit scene, the symbiote talked about how there's a hive mind between all the symbiotes in different universes. So if one Venom knows Peter Parker's Spider-Man, that means they all do, and that's why he was there.
Like Nebula,
Oh.
like Nebula,
Because
right?
Eddie Brock doesn't know Peter Parker.
Right.
Yeah. So
Right,
I think
okay.
the one very important thing with the mid-credit scene, though, which they've already alluded to, is that Tom Hardy is not going to be the Venom
Right.
in the MCU.
This
Yes.
gives them the option to do their own thing with the
Because
symbiote.
he left
Yep.
a little piece of the symbiote. But as I've said, it sounds like they're going to use him as the Venom in the Andrew Garfield, the Amazing Spider-Man
There, yeah,
timeline.
Right.
there's all this hype now that Sony's going to start doing another Andrew Garfield movie.
Right.
And they could just say that he's in the Venomverse.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they'll
But they're allowed to do that. Hell,
Right.
we do it with comic books all the time.
They
And that's
do
what a lot of
whatever the fuck
people
they
don't
want.
realize is this shit happens in comics all the time. So,
But you'll get your own Venom
yeah.
in the MCU, and they laid the groundwork for that as well.
Hopefully it's Agent Venom.
Yeah, let's just pray it's never going to be Topher Grace again. Or is that his name?
Tess Topher.
I like being bad.
Yeah. Ugh, God. I'm not.
You sound just like
I
him.
have nothing against him. I just thought that whole thing was terrible. All right,
Yeah,
and
it
then
was.
post credit scene. It was really just a trailer for Multiverse.
It's the
Madness.
trailer they've been holding from us.
So so Jerry, we get up, we walk out, we meet in the lobby.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at him and I'm like, dude, how the fuck did they hide that from us? Like, how did because they'll be shot, but like
At this point now, it's Squid Game.
But
for
they're-
anyone that
Right.
works over at Disney.
but there wasn't even a rumor.
Sorry.
There wasn't even
we get excited.
yeah, Jerry's throwing shit. There wasn't even a rumor of any sort of teaser trailer for Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness. And obviously it was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I definitely saw the when he went outside and he looked up and the sky looked kind of oozy. That looked just like what he did to his own universe in the What If episode.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then there's this whole thing. Is this the Doctor Strange from the What If episodes? It might not be. I think there's going to be multiple versions of Doctor Strange in this movie.
Yeah.
Well,
not,
you saw
not just
it.
the ones
You
that
s-
we've seen.
You saw the two, right?
Right.
The bad
well,
one.
there's definitely two. I think there's going to be multiple versions of a lot of the characters.
Yeah.
Including like Wanda and Wong and America Chavez. Or there might only be one America Chavez, but
Yeah. I think it's just going to be the one.
yeah.
Speaking of Wong, Kevin Feige had a comment that it's turning into the Wong cinematic universe because he's in like every fucking movie, now,
At least for like 5 seconds.
which I love, by the way.
The new Sorcerer Supreme, I might add.
True. Excellent movie. 4.5 coins. I'm sure that's probably representative from everybody else on Zero Dark Nerdy. We'd love to hear what you think too. Be sure if you're in Greensboro, check out Jerry 5 nights a week. Rattle off those trivia nights there, buddy.
Monday night, Bearded Goat Downtown. Tuesday night, Odin Brewing Company. Wednesday night, Stumble Stiltskins. Thursday night is Bearded Goat Revolution Mill. And Friday night is another edition at Stumble Stiltskins.
There you go. Fun rounds, awesome prizes. And then don't forget about the sports division of Zero Dark Nerdy, headed by our one and only Captain Cleveland Saba. What you got coming up?
At WC Sports Pod, myself, Luke. Just follow us on social media. We got episodes that come out every week. We're on the Believe Podcast Network. We're going to do one this week. We won't have one after that. This week, we're just going to do a rapid fire across all sports. Look, this is the time of year where everybody's kind of with their families and stuff. We don't want to force content out there, but what I ask is that just find us on Instagram or Twitter at WC Sports Pod. Follow us, and when we have new episodes come out, you can see it. Like, follow, subscribe, love us.
There you go. It is a season of giving out there, ladies and gentlemen. It literally takes less than a minute to go out to our social media pages, like, subscribe, give us a rating. It means the world to us, believe me. Again, happy holidays out there from all of us here at Zero Dark Nerdy. We're coming back bigger, better than ever. In 2022, we're going to hit season 5. Season 4. Year 5.
You're giving us
I
too
can't
many.
believe we're hitting year 5.
I know.
It's been a blast. And, again, big things coming.
They
Hopefully
didn't
the
think we'd
pandemic.
make it to episode 5.
Yeah, we thought we'd be canceled long before then. But happy holidays out there, everybody. And we'll catch you next time. Peace.
Bye.
Yeah! Victory!
And anger management?
Fuck anger management.
Thank you for listening to Believe. You can show support to your host by subscribing to the show and giving us a 5-star rating on your preferred platform. Check us out at Believe.com and search for BLEAV on YouTube.
Hey, it's Michelle Beadle. That's right, the Michelle Beadle. You're welcome. You love talking about sports. I love talking about sports. You know the only thing cooler than talking about sports? Sports! And right now, all your favorite sports are on Sirius XM. I'm talking every NFL game, every game from the NBA, NHL, MLB, every NASCAR race, golf major conference college sports, and all the top games in the WNBA. If it gets your heart pumping, it's on Sirius XM. So start your free trial of Sirius XM today. Visit SiriusXM.com/believe.